Have you ever pondered how a solitary spark can set off an inferno so expansive that it consumes the world? This concept isn't just mere poetry. It is an accurate analogy to a cataclysmic event in human history. World War II, spanning 6 tumultuous years, was such an event. It commenced in a manner as sudden and unexpected as a spark causing a wildfire, forever altering the trajectory of mankind. The period of 1939 to 1945 wasn't just a collection of dates on a calendar, it was a stretch of time humanity in its thrall, dictating its every move and influencing its every decision. The world was held hostage to a war that seemed to know no bounds, a war that was as vast as the world itself. It was a conflict that saw nations rise and fall, ideologies clash and merge, and humanity tested to its very limits. World War II was more than just a war. It was a phenomenon that triggered unparalleled changes. It was an era that shattered norms and birthed new ideologies. The political landscape was irrevocably altered, and societies were transformed. This war saw the birth of technology that was brilliant as it was destructive. It saw courage and valor stand tall in the face of adversity, and it bore witness to acts of humanity amidst inhumanity. The war was a revolving whirlpool of change, pulling in everything it touched, altering nations and individuals alike. It was marked by a deluge of events, each one more impactful than the last, leaving behind a trail of altered landscapes and changed lives. The war was not just fought on battlefields, it was fought in minds and hearts, and its impact lingered long after the last bullet was fired, leaving an indelible mark on the human psyche. So, have you ever wondered how a single spark can ignite a blaze so vast it engulfs the world? This monumental period from 1939 to 1945 witnessed an array of events that not only reshaped nations but also left an indelible mark on the human psyche. The catalyst for this colossal clash was Germany's unquenchable thirst for power. This thirst was not just for control, but a desire to dominate and engulf other nations, to carve out a vast empire under German rule. At the helm of all this was Adolf Hitler, a man whose extremist ideologies and visions of grandiosity had gripped the entire nation. During his reign, Hitler ushered in an era of unprecedented militarism, the likes of which the world hadn't seen. The nation adopted a specific military strategy known as blitzkrieg, or lightning war. This tactic was characterized by its speed, ferocity, and sheer intensity, designed to incapacitate the enemy before they could even comprehend what was happening. Blitzkrieg was not just a strategy, it was a doctrine, a philosophy that was deeply ingrained in the German military psyche. The tactic, involving rapid and overwhelming attacks, was instrumental in Germany's early victories. Countries fell like dominoes in the face of this unwavering assault. Poland fell in a matter of few weeks, Denmark was overcome in mere hours. Other countries like Norway, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg, and France all succumbed within months of attacks. Unprepared and caught off guard, these nations could do little but watch as Germany advanced, leaving chaos and destruction in its path. The Blitzkrieg had indeed struck like lightning, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. In the shadows of this military onslaught, however, lurked an even darker horror. As the world's gaze was focused on the unfolding war, an insidious campaign of mass murder was being carried out, far from the field of battle. Orchestrated meticulously by Adolf Hitler's Nazi Germany, what came to be known as the Holocaust was a systematic, state-sponsored genocide of unprecedented scale and brutality. In its crosshairs were 6 million Jews targeted for extermination, alongside millions of others deemed undesirable, marginal, and dangerous by the deluded Nazi ideology. Victims were uprooted from their homes, their lives brutally disrupted and thrust into an unimaginable nightmare. The machinery of death took the form of concentration camps and extermination centers scattered across Eastern Europe. The names of places such as Auschwitz, Treblinka, and Sobibor have since been etched into the annals of history as emblematic of the chilling efficiency of this genocide. These were not just prisons but factories of death, designed with chilling precision to murder en masse. Their purpose was to wipe out an entire people, to erase cultures and histories, and to fulfill the perverse vision of a racially pure Third Reich. In the face of such monstrous inhumanity, the world stood aghast. Yet it was not enough to halt the relentless tide of death. The Holocaust stands as a chilling reminder of the depths to which humanity can sink in the throes of prejudice and hatred. But amidst the darkness, there were glimmers of hope and defiance. The chronicle of this defiance began to write its most monumental chapter in 1944, a year that would go down in the annals of history as a turning point. As the war raged on, painting the earth red with blood and destruction, a meticulously planned operation was brewing behind closed doors. The world was on the cusp of witnessing the largest seaborne invasion ever to be assembled. As the clock struck midnight on a predestined day, the air was filled with an almost palpable tension. The Allied forces, composed of an impressive array of men and machinery, prepared themselves for this decisive battle. The memories of their homelands, now but a distant echo, steeled resolve. The men were a motley crew of brothers, bound together by their shared aim of freedom. The machinery and awe-inspiring spectacle of human genius was ready to unleash its power upon the enemy forces. The target was the beaches of Normandy. This now peaceful stretch of sand was about to become the stage for a battle would echo through time. As the dawn broke, these brave men, backed by the might of their machinery, stormed the beaches on what is now known as D-Day. The air was thick with the smoke of gunfire and the cries of the warriors, each fighting for the same cause. This daring operation, backed by the sheer will of the Allied forces and the silent prayers of millions, marked a significant turning point. The tides of war began to shift, the grip of Nazi occupation began to loosen. The day's victory lit the beacon of hope, signaling the impending liberation of Western Europe from the stranglehold of Nazi occupation. Simultaneously, halfway across the globe, another theater of war was unfolding in the profound depths and awe-inspiring expanses of the Pacific Ocean. As World War II raged across Europe, a different but no less significant conflict was being waged across these vast waters that covered more than half of the Earth's surface. This was the Pacific War, a sprawling, chaotic, and intense struggle that stretched from the freezing waters of the Aleutians to the tropical heat of the Solomon Islands. The war was not just about colossal naval battles fought out in the open ocean, although there were plenty of those. It was also a grueling saga of endurance, fortitude, and strategy as both sides embarked on relentless island-hopping campaigns. These involved seizing one strategic island after another, gradually pushing the enemy back. The islands became the stepping stones towards the enemies. Each one captured was a victory. Each one lost, a defeat. The Battle of Midway in 1942 was a turning point, a moment of significant change in this theater. It served as a stark reminder of the brutal reality of war, dealing a devastating blow to the Japanese fleet that left them reeling. The consequences of this battle reverberated far beyond the immediate conflict, changing the course of the war in favor of the Allied forces. The Allied forces' relentless and calculated island-hopping strategy began to gradually erode Japan's control over the Pacific. Each victory, each island liberated, pushed the Axis powers closer to the brink, systematically weakening their hold and pushing them irrevocably towards defeat. The war in the Pacific was a testament to the indomitable spirit of the human race, endlessly fascinating, and a significant chapter in our collective history. The Allied forces' island-hopping strategy gradually eroded Japan's control over the Pacific, pushing them further towards defeat. And then, in August 1945, came the final cataclysmic chapter of the war. This was a period of time that was intense and fraught with peril. It was during this month that a significant and momentous event took place, one that would forever shape the course of human history. The United States, with President Harry S. Truman at the helm, was contemplating a decision of enormous gravity. Feeling the weight of countless lives hanging in the balance, they were facing a stark choice. They had in their possession a weapon of unparalleled power, a creation of human ingenuity that was capable of causing devastation on a scale never before seen. The choice before them was to use this weapon and potentially hasten the end of a brutal and bloody conflict, or to hold back, uncertain of the ramifications such an act could have. After much deliberation, the decision was made to deploy this atomic weapon. And so it was, in an act of unprecedented military force, 2 atomic bombs dropped on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. These cities, once bustling with life and activity, were turned into landscapes of desolation and ruin. The unprecedented destruction wrought by these weapons was a sight that left the world in stunned silence. Cries of agony echoed through the charred remains of the cities, as civilians and soldiers alike grappled with the sheer scale of the devastation. The impact of this event was so profound that it led to Japan's surrender, thus marking the end of World War II. World War II was a maelstrom of conflict that reshaped the world. It was a war unlike any other before it, a titanic clash of ideologies and nations that led to an unprecedented level of destruction and loss of life. It was a time when the very fabric of society was ripped apart and stitched back together, a period of turmoil and transformation. This war was a parade of firsts. The first time atomic bombs were used in warfare, the first time that civilians were targeted on such a massive scale, the first time the world had seen a conflict of this global magnitude. Each of these firsts brought with it a new level of horror, a fresh understanding of the depths to which humanity could sink. But it was also a war of lasts. The last time that large-scale trench warfare was seen on the European front, the last time that cavalry was used in a significant way in battle, the last time that the world experienced a conflict that spanned almost the entire globe. These lasts, while marking the end of certain military practices, also highlighted the relentless march of technological progress and its impact on warfare. World War II, a showcase of both the best and worst of humanity. On one hand, we saw incredible acts of heroism, from soldiers risking their lives on the battlefield to civilians aiding those in need amidst the chaos. On the other, we witnessed horrifying atrocities, grim reminders of the capacity for cruelty and evil that lies within mankind. The war taught us the devastating cost of hatred, prejudice, and intolerance. It highlighted the necessity of peace and understanding, of mutual respect and cooperation amongst nations. These are lessons that remain as relevant today as they were then. Lessons that we must continue to learn from if we are to avoid repeating the same mistakes. As we look back on this tumultuous period in history, we must remember the lessons it has taught us and strive to ensure that such a global conflagration never happens again.